Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at the Magnificent. We're also going to look at what affects the expansion for the Magnificent, the Magnificent Snow has on the solo game. And in this episode, I want to be able to help you decide, is this a game that you might want to add purely from a solo standpoint? With the also caveat, if I get this game, do I feel like I need to add the solo to the the snow expansion to the solo experience? So let's go ahead and take a look at it, and then I'll let you know what I think at the end.
Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can get my fan base to grow. So this is what the game looks like after I've played the first of 3 rounds. You can see here that I've scored some points. I've even taken a little bit of a penalty for not being able to pay all my workers, or my performers, I should say. I've got a little bit of building on the board here. I've got some cards, and so kind of I'm off to the races. Plus, you'll also notice I have an extra one of these. In the base game, you only ever have 4, but in the expansion, there are cards that let you, as a 5th turn, get one of these to have more variety. And what I would say about the expansion is that's exactly what the expansion adds, more variety. It adds an optional module here for a 5th action per round. Normally, you only take 4. It also adds these white performers, the snow, and the snow need these white buildings. They also add some different types of scoring with different conditions here at the end of the game, depending on what they are. So you can see, you know, there are different master cards here, new bonuses, and new scoring methods. Okay, so there's some of that. They also add some new trainer abilities, but it basically does not change the gameplay really one bit. For the most part, it just adds more. And you also get a few more options in here when you take that action. So let me explain to you what this game looks like solo. The solo is beat your own score. There are very few additional rules in regards to playing it. There is no AI opponent. You are trying to beat your own score. The goal is to get to 200. If you get higher than that, it's pretty remarkable. I still haven't gotten to that level. I'm sure there's ways to do it that I just haven't figured out yet. Because this game is one large puzzle. That's what it really comes down to. One large Euro puzzle. So what you have here is, on your turn, you can do one of 3 things. You can choose, well, let me back up here. First thing you do in the beginning of the round is you roll the dice available to you. And you get some amounts. Oops, that was a 4. You get some amounts. And the dice and the color matter in this game because the number on the dice gives you your power in your action. And the color of the dice gives you what color the components would be, or the buildings would be, or the people would be, etc., that you're kind of utilizing. So if you take a purple dice, you'll use the purple rondelle for this action. The green uses the green. The orange uses the orange. The white is wild. It can use any of them. Same thing with the buildings. If you can imagine you're going to build the certain color buildings based on the dice that you choose. And that's pretty much it. The performance does not matter about the color, which is the 3rd type of action you can take. So the other thing you can do in the solo is you can discard any one of these cards at the beginning of the turn to roll an additional dice of that color. So, or die of that color. So let's say I don't want this card here. I'm going to go ahead and discard it, and it's just going to be out of the game. And then I get to roll another orange die, and that one's not better at all than that one, but there it is. That's what you can do, and then you immediately resupply. You could do that once per turn at the beginning of your turn, and it is good for 2 reasons. Number 1, it gives you more choices out here. Number 2, it'll cycle more cards in here, and actually that is one of the things that is probably better because you get more variety. This game is all about taking these performers, marrying them up with the requirements for them on the board that you have, and then having them perform to get the maximum bonuses that they can give you. So let me go ahead and show you a couple of turns. So the first thing you do on your turn is choose a die, and that will tell you what you're going to do. Now, one of the things that happens with your die is that you're going to choose it and you're going to put it on the top of one of these cards. Normally 4, I have 5 because of the bonus. And when you do that, you get whatever it says. If you put it on top of this one, for instance, if it's a purple die, it'll add 2 to the purple. Okay, and you can also add purple crystals or white crystals to add additional 2 to each of the die. And the higher the number, the better for the most part. For instance, if I'm going to build a building, the higher the number, the more buildings I get to build, and the bigger they can be in this kind of combination. So if I get all the way to 18, I could build 2 buildings in a small. And you say, well, how in the heck can you get to 18? You know, you've just got the maximum of 6. Are you adding all these crystals to it and everything else? And the answer is no. Once you put a die here, that's the first value of that color. But if you get another die of the same color, it adds to that and gives you more powerful second actions in that color. All right, you also have these trainers which help you bend the rules to your favor. So for instance, let me show you what I'm talking about right here and there on that. Let's say I want to get a purple action. This purple one kind of stinks, but I can use the trainer with the purple one to modify that die and make it a 6. So that's much better. Then I can put it on here. Now it's an 8. Now I got an 8 purple. Well, what can I do with that 8 purple? I could add another 2 to it, making it a 10. That would let me, if I wanted to build buildings big, build a big and a small one, which I probably want to do. I could also come over here and move my cart down here and get all the crystals that are going in between the space I go to and the space I stop. So if I move this 10, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'd go all the way to here, unless I miscounted that. And I'd get all the crystals in between, and if I stopped on one of the performance tents, I could use it as a performing venue, getting the bonuses that I cover for my performers. Well, actually, as it stands, I kind of want to build the buildings. So let's go ahead and assume, so I've got 6, 8, I need to get to 9 for what I want to do. So I'm going to discard this one, and it's going to make it a 10, okay? Now, the 10 says I can build, because I have to fall back to a 9, a big and a small building. Perfect. I'm going to build a small one of these and a big one of these. And I'm going to go ahead and put them on my board. And in true Euro fashion, when you cover something up, you get it. So that's cool. I'm going to put this right, let's see. Let's put it over here. I'm going to get a white crystal, okay? So I get that immediately. Right there. And I'm going to put this right here, and it's going to score me 3 points. As usual, as you can imagine, once you start building, you have to, build off your stuff. It's the usual polynomial building rules. So that gets me 3 points. And that's my first action. There we go. Now I don't have this card to choose from a bonus standpoint anymore, but I get to take another action with the remaining ones, and I have 3 more left. And the overall goal is I'm trying to maximize, my performance opportunities, okay? Which I'll show you here as I get deeper into this. So looking around, I need to get these guys to perform, which means I need to be able to get to a performance rating of at least, whoops, I forgot to bring this back, of at least 8 power to make 2 guys perform. If I can get further than that, I can get all the way up to 12, I could do 3 performances at once. And it's about maximizing those options in this game. So thinking about it, let's go ahead and get some more crystals right now while we can, because we're going to use those, and I want to see if I can get another tent unlocked. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So I'm going to take this 6 green, and I'm going to put it on here, getting an orange crystal. Okay? So this is my second turn now. So the orange crystal goes here. And like I said, I need to move 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to get this crystal here, 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 and here. So that's 2 greens, a purple, and an orange. So orange, 2 greens, and a purple. Okay? Now, if you can't hold any more than 3 crystals. If you get more than 3 crystals, you have to trade them in for $1 a piece. Usually kind of subpar. And what's the money used for in this game? The money is used to pay your performers, okay? And you have to pay the performers based on the dice that you use throughout the game, which I'll show you at the end of this round. But that's really the point of the money. So you can't ignore it, but it's not a major thing because it barely scores you any points at the end. So now I have this right here. And I'm going to want to cover this one up. This gives me $2 when I cover it up, plus I get another performer. Okay, so let's do that. And, okay, so let's get the $2. And I'm going to take another performer. And the performer I'm going to take is going to be this guy. And why am I taking him? I'll tell you. Because I have a special ability here that's going to give me scoring for 5 points times the number of equal performers that I have, up to 20. at the end of a round. And so I already have one of these guys down here. So if I can perform with these next two guys, then that's 3 of them. That's 15 points. That's good. Okay, so that's why I took him. And when I take him, I go ahead and add another one back. So there's 2 turns down. All right, so now you'll notice, well, shoot, you have some of the buildings, but not all of them. You need to have one of these and another one of these, because if you're going to do both of them, they have to have 2 separate buildings for the requirements. Okay, well, I only have one of those, and I have one of these. So I need to get a mixture of buildings. How can I do that? Well, that's the challenge. Normally, you can only do one building at a time from a color standpoint. However, if I had another trainer, I'd be able to mix and match that building. So, is there a way I can get another trainer? Well, the only way to get trainers usually in this game is for these spots over here. But let's see if I can do anything else. In the bonus game or the solo, it allows you to take one of these 2 actions. You have to take one of them. You don't actually have to do something with it if you can't do anything. But when you take that action, it actually is now that 5th action that's required. So I just saw a little opportunity. I could take this action right here, and it's basically these are the futures, and this is the current action you could take. This says trade 2 orange for a large orange building. Okay, well that's good, because guess what I can do with that large orange building? I can cover up a trainer spot. And as usual, you'd expect, at the end of the game, for each of these squares you fill, you get 4 points. So I'm going to try to work on that, but at this point, I think I'm going to end up going with something like that. Okay, because I need that trainer. So now I have a trainer available to me. Still haven't taken my turn yet. I'm sorry, I did take this turn, but I haven't taken the next one. But now I can mix and match, which is what I need to do. So I said I need to get a large green and a small red. That's a 9. Well, looking up here, I could get a 9 by doing the following. I could go like this. All right, so bear with me, folks. I'm going to put this white die here. I'm going to make this a green. That is a green 8, okay? Plus I'm going to add another crystal to it, making it a green 10. Whoops. All right, I'll pick up that in a second. So I've added the green crystal, but I also get a purple one. So let me snag that before I forget. And that will give me the 10 that I need. Now I can put this trainer in here to mix and match the buildings that I want, which is awesome because that's how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to get a big green and a small red, which is what I need right there. So big green, small red. Looking at the board now, where can I put this? I need money because I'm going to need to pay for these people. So I'm going to put it over here. That's going to give me $2. Okay. And then I'm going to put this over here, which gives me 5 points, which is this ticket symbol, plus another one of those crystals, these wild ones, which is awesome. So let's do that. We'll get that. And we still have some room for it. And then I move up 5 more points to 27. Fantastic. I have one more move left, and it's time to perform. So with that, I need to get at least 8, like I talked to you about. And you say, well, why don't you just grab the white die? That'll give you 5, and then you can add to it. Well, the problem is you have to pay for your highest color die at the end in coins, plus additional for white die. So I don't know if I really want to do that. Instead, why don't I take this 4, okay? Put it on here, which doesn't do me anything. I'll put it on here, so I'll get a card with it. And I'm going to take this snow card. All right, we're going to use him at some point. Him or her. Looks like a her, pardon me. Okay, so let's see. That's 4, and I need to get to an 8, like I said. So 6, 8. Now we're at 8. All right, that means I can perform with 2 people. And I have 2 tenths. I have a couple choices actually now with that one. I could do this person, you can't see this, and this, or I could do this and this. And I'm actually going to do these 2 because I'll show you in a second why. So I'm going to perform with these. It's going to give me $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, and it's going to give me 9 points. So let's get the 9 points. So 27 will be up to 36, and the $6, 5 and 6. All right, now we perform with them. They don't require any additional costs. Like sometimes they need crystals, and sometimes these tents need some certain things, so they don't have it. So we're good. We're done. We paid for them to perform. That was 2. And we put those over there, and that ends the round. Now, once the round is ended, you have to go through some end round stuff, okay? With that, we're going to have to choose one of our cards, and we're going to have to score it. So I could do a couple things. This card gives me 3 points for each crystal I have. That'd be 3, 6, 9. All right, not so bad. But I just told you that I have 3 of these of the same. I'm going to do this one instead. I'm going to get 5 points for each of those. So I discard this card from the game, out of it for me. I get 15 points. Okay, so that'll put me at 51. Then I have to draw a card. Well, the one thing in the solo modes that it says is you basically, depending on how many people are above you, these cards would be off limits. So these 2 cards are discarded before I even get a chance, as is their trainer tile. And then I have these right here to choose from. And since I have a bunch of orange already, this one seems like the way to go. So I get this card, and I also get the trainer tile with it. So that's another tile that I can use. Ooh, I just realized that I have a permanent +1 on that, but that wouldn't have really helped me, even though I chose this, because I still had to pay a crystal. Actually, it would have. It would have, because I wouldn't have had to pay that other one. So let's back that up a little bit. All right. Good old back it up. If there wasn't an undo button in Euro games for solos, I don't know where I'd be. Okay, and anyway, so you can see how I did that. Now I have to pay a fee for the performers I had. Well, what you do is you look at your highest color die, which in this case is a 6. So I have to pay $6. They're both tied, doesn't matter, 6. Plus I have to pay the sum of all white die with it. So that's 7 8, so it's $8. So I've got the money, which is good, because if I didn't have the money, for every one I couldn't pay in the second round, I'd lose 2 points. So you don't want that. And then you pretty much wipe the board with these, deal out some new ones because, top to bottom here. And actually, you don't even deal out trainers in this third row because you're not going to be able to use them. This next time at the end of it, game's going to be over. I deal out these, flip these over, get me 2 more, and there we go. And that's about the size of it. Again, the components for the expansion are this sideboard, these white performers, the snow performers, these white tiles over here, a couple of more different scoring things. There is mechanically very little, and I know I'm talking about the solo because in the multiplayer game, they give you some turn order cards and things like that you can use. Those don't come into play with the solo at all. And so that's about the size of it. Now let me go ahead and tell you what I think about this as a solo game.
All right, so hopefully that gave you a good gist. It was basically a third of the game I played in that tutorial of what this game feels like, what it looks like. You saw the different actions. And what I'll say is this is a very, very puzzly game. This entire game is a puzzle. It's about maximizing what you're doing on your board, playing things at the right time, scoring things at the right time. And so it really scratches that itch well. And for those of you who like puzzle-like games for the Euro style, this is a good one. I would not really classify this as an engine building game or anything like that because even though you're building up your infrastructure, that's not necessarily an engine. I guess you could say, well, it'll help you, score more cards at the end, with having more capabilities. Yeah, sort of, but I don't consider this an engine building game really at all. The gameplay that you saw is what you're going to get. And in some ways, I would say that's kind of repetitive. And that would be my downside of this game is that the variety of actions and choices you make, I shouldn't say choices, but the actions you can take are very slim. 3 actions, that's it, plus that auxiliary one if you buy the expansion, but that's really kind of like a little bonus side thing. And so that's it. There's a ton of different things to consider in those actions, but there's only 3. And so for you who really like a variety of gameplay, that's going to be a negative here. There's not a ton of variety. That being said, there are deep, difficult choices. You saw how I worked out in front of you a potential combo that I needed to get a trainer so I can get the stuff that I needed. So there is this interlinking mechanism, which I find pretty fun and very enjoyable. And that's why this game has stayed in my collection for so many years, because there is some discovery as you play of, ooh, this would be nice, and I could maximize this, and this would be the time to play that. And then when I play that, I get to score this bonus to give me the best, the points. So all that is good. I like that. Some of you may not, or if you don't like it, there's not much else in this game for you, I'll say that. You either like that kind of style, and then this game gives you a lot of variety to do that, But if you're not too keen on it, this is probably a pass for you. I personally think that the choices are meaty enough. It's clear, as I have not hit the 200 point mark yet in playing this game a couple of times, that I've got a long way to go to try to figure that out. I'm assuming that the the expansion, the Magnificent Snow, would make it a little easier to hit that 200 mark. So if you're playing with that, maybe you end up having to go up to 250 or something. I don't know, because I haven't even got to 200 yet, so we'll see. And that's it. It's actually pretty quick to play. It's pretty quick to set up. It's, I'd say, no more than an hour. You saw me get through a third of the game while I was talking, and if you're concentrating, you could probably do this game in half hour, 45 minutes. Full hour to set up a takedown and play the whole way. So there's some positives to it. Either way, I hope this has been informative. It is one that stayed in my collection for a while. I don't go to it all that often, but when I do, I'm always happy I played it. But it's not one that I would play repeatedly over and over and over again, because the gameplay, I think, would get a little bit too samey after repeated plays, but it's always fun when I play it every couple of months or so. So there you have it. I hope that whatever you play in the future, you really enjoy doing so. Thank you very much for listening to my video. I appreciate it, and have a good one, everybody.